I'm Akuratyde, and this is going to be a quick walkthrough of Evergreen from my album Home Movies. Alright, so let's start with the pads because I think they're pretty interesting. What I've done here is I've taken a sample from a demo of the Korg Wave Station because I was looking for something with a pretty 90s sound. Now, when I'm sampling something, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll find something that I know has potential, but I'm going to change it far beyond what it sounds like because I don't want the samples to be recognizable. So if I play this without anything on it, it sounds like this. So what I'm essentially doing here is just some kind of extreme EQing to cut the lows and boost the highs. Then I'm adding a lot of reverb. And I'm using this diffusion reverb. It gives it almost like a vocal choral kind of quality. And then just reducing the gain a bit. And then what I've done here is just layered these two. So I've got one that's a little bit more high passed. And then right before the drop, I've layered them and I've just done some automation, bringing the filter up so it kind of disappears right before the drop. This is just adding a little bit of emphasis to the pads. Here's the piano melody. That is a sample of the piano bank from the Yamaha SY77 that I've just treated lightly with a little bit of reverb and EQ. There's a little bit of guitar here. Pitch shifting that slightly just to give it that kind of 90s, pitched quality. EQ, reverb again. There's a pad that I made here in Serum just to give it a little bit more emphasis. It's really subtle, but I just like to add things like that in to make the sounds a little bit thicker and fuller. Same thing with the bass. I've got 3 bass layers here, so sub. And then this is a patch that I made in Massive, just to boost the mids a little bit and give it a little bit of movement. And then here's kind of a gritty layer. And I believe that's a sample of the Moog Road. Yeah. It's just a combination of samples and software, which is really how I like to work. And all of the melodies were written by me. I don't personally believe in using pre-made melodies from sample packs. And, I understand if songwriting isn't your strength and, it's hard for some people to come up with melodies, but it's not something that I would do in my songs. No judgment. So the drums in this song I have split up across 3 individual battery instruments. I'm sure I could have done it all in one, but this is just sort of the way I ended up doing it. It started getting really crowded in here, and I felt like I was running out of room for drums. And I'm still using battery 3. I don't know how they're doing it in newer versions, but if I go and add a line in here, it doesn't really map the keys correctly, and it's a real pain in the ass to change them. So it's just easier once I get full to start a new battery instrument. So I've got these here. These are the amens here. And then I just have this little snare here for emphasis. This is just like percussion. So this is one battery instrument here, and then I have them going to the drum bus. So I just like doing it that way because then I can, EQ each instrument separately. Now, that was actually one of the main reasons I started using battery for drums, because you can assign different outputs here based on, per sample. So like this clap is going to its own stereo out. So look at the drums here. And then there's just a little bit of this added on top for emphasis. And what those are, this right here, it's actually just, I took my guitar cable and resampled myself dropping it on the floor at my last apartment, which had concrete floors. So I would just drop the cable on the floor with reverb and resampled it to get this. So I thought those were pretty cool. And I just like the way that it kind of emphasizes the drums and gives it a little something extra on top. So this is kind of the change-up section where the breaks and the bass change to 808s. And in the spirit of this song, these 808s are sampled from Future Music's CD1, which is where a lot of classic jungle samples came from, if you didn't know. So this is the helicopter break here. I'm not doing anything too terribly complicated with it. There's a couple little rolls here. And then there's a couple parts where it just changes. So at this point in the song, I start introducing... It just does that sometimes. So at this point in the song, I start introducing this sample here. I've got this little riser here. And then following that, a little downlifter. Which, these are pretty subtle. I don't even really notice them. All right, that's an obvious lie. The downlifter is super noticeable. That's kind of not the point though, is it? So I'm not really doing anything terribly complicated with this song. With this one, I was more concerned about the vibe than I was any, technical things. I'm not doing like a ton of complicated drum choppage or anything like that. It's more just about creating that feeling for me and focusing on the melodies. I went through about 4 major revisions of this song, with this one being the 4th. And this is the one that I was finally happy with. I thought that bend was kind of fun there. It's just literally a pitch bend in the MIDI. Having this part here without any bass, I just thought that was kind of a fun way to get back into the bass line. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Evergreen from my new album Home Movies. Thank you for watching.